Hello YouTubers, this is PFC Romero 101 coming at you with another video. Today we're going to be talking about RODI systems. RODI systems are obviously a benefit to those who can afford them. They have been getting cheaper. There are different retailers that will sell them for various prices, so it's always good to just go online, go shopping. The one I have here is the 5-stage RODI system from Bulk Reef Supply, with the upgraded membrane and booster pumps, so that way I'm able to produce more quality water with a lower how would you say, with a lower waste, as well as being able to produce it a lot faster. Definitely worth the money if you're able to afford it. Booster pump is the most expensive part of this system, so if you can get the upgrade, I highly recommend it. The way I have it obviously set up is I have it running here. I apologize for the dishes. I had dinner and haven't washed it yet. But basically I have the one of the adapters that comes from the Bulk Reef Supply kit. They give you a series of different adapters they can rig to your water system. I have it running from my faucet. The only thing that I had to get that was not included was a thread adapter for the actual faucet head, because inside this will screw on to the threads. However, this did not have threads, so I had to go out to Home Depot to purchase one. I originally purchased a plastic one, and that was a mistake on my end. Plastic was cheap, and when I tried to thread it on, it actually stripped it, and it would leak, and so it wasn't quality. So I went out and I bought a steel adapter and threaded that on, and I used some grease, silicone grease, for the threadings, so that way there's no leaking going on. And basically I just have my hose running from here all the way. It goes into my booster pump. The booster pump I have to plug in, and then from there, the booster pump, it goes into the actual RODI system itself. It passes through the first stage, which is just your it's just one big filter pad. As you can tell, I need to change it. Always a good idea to have spares on hand. However, this thing still works. So I'm not going to change it just yet, just because it still works really well. By the time the water reaches the resin, I check for TDS on the resin portion, and it comes out really low before it even hits the resin. So obviously it's working really well, so don't need to replace them just yet. But it all depends on the quality of water that you have in your where you live, as well as how much water you produce. Me with a 150-gallon tank, when I do my water changes, I usually perform about a 35-gallon to 40-gallon water change. So moving on to the second stage. Second stage is basically your carbon block filter, and this there's a sediment sock inside, which captures some of the bigger particles in this, and so it filters out those. From there, it spills out and goes into the third chamber, which is basically the same thing. It's another carbon block, But however, the sock in here, the filtration sock in here, it's actually smaller, so it takes out those really small and fine particles out of your water. And then from there it goes up to your membrane. Your membrane is the part of the filter system that separates the good quality water from the bad water. And so if you just purchase the original 5-stage, you'll just come with just this just this one right here, and basically it's going to separate your different your good water from your bad water. And your good water, it's going to be sent to your 5th stage, which will be your resin stage. And then the bad water obviously is going to go out. It's going to spew into wherever you're going to be getting rid of that water at. Me, I just have it going into my sink. If you purchase the upgrade kit, basically what it is it's going to take the good quality water, and it's going to keep the good quality water going into your resin set. However, the bad water that exits out, it's actually going to recycle and go into the second membrane here. This is so that way it can treat that water and separate even more water, more good water out of it, and then setting out to the waste. Therefore, you're using up less water when you're creating your RO water. And so this is definitely a great investment to have. Moving on to the 5th stage here. This is just a quick resin. I get the color changing resin just due to the fact that it's just nice to kind of gauge what your how much resin is left, like what's still good, versus just the standard resin, which is just one color. It doesn't change colors, so therefore you're just kind of having to monitor your TDS meter all the time. This kind of just gives you a gauge of when it's gonna start to produce TDS. And so I mean, obviously you still want to be monitoring with your meters, but it just gives you that extra level of, okay, I know where it's at, so I'm going to need to replace it come around this time frame. As I said again, it's always good to have extra filters on hand, extra resin, so when you need to change out. And then from there, I have my the good water goes in, which is on average, I would say probably about maybe about 18 to 12 TDS by the time it's reaching the resin. And then from there, obviously the resin's going to filter it out, and then coming out there's going to be 0 TDS. It should be 0 TDS. And then I have the line coming out, and then I have it going here, which this is a leak detector. And what this does is this senses, this has a sensor. Let me pull this up real quick. This has a sensor, a metal sensor underneath, and basically this detects moisture. When this system detects moisture, if for some reason it overflows, like I'm not here and I'm not paying attention, obviously you want to get a float valve to shut off the system. But for me, like I said, everything right now is temporary because I'm not planning on doing permanent installs, and just having to take the hose in and out all the time to the float valve when I got to move my my container is just a big pain. It's not like I have a stationary thing where I can do plumbing, where I can do an automatic water change and don't have to worry about stuff. So for now, right now, this is a safety switch for me. And so when it detects moisture, it sets off an alarm. And as it sets off an alarm, it lets you know, hey, your water's overflowing. And this snaps, and it will automatically shut off the water line going into your reservoir of or container, whatever you have. And so this is just a nice safety protocol to have when you're producing water. I've had many leakages before where I producing water and it's just all over my kitchen floor. My wife gets angry and I just use the excuse, well, at least I'm mopping the floor, ain't I? So you can use that one, guys, if something bad like that happens. Just, you know, just be careful though. You can only use it so many times. And then from here, once the water is done, it's going to follow the line all the way out, and it's going to go into my tub. This is a 40-gallon Butte storage container. It's basically a trash can, but it's white. So therefore, because some of the colored ones, they can produce some different types of toxins or chemicals. They leak it out. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some people use the gray ones. I don't know if they've had any negative results on that. If you have, just let me know. But I have this, and then I have it on a little rolly system. It's all it comes with. It's all, I got a roller just so I can move it, because yeah, carrying that amount of water to where my tank's at, it's not gonna happen. So definitely worth the investment in that. And so I'm gonna I'm gonna start making some water, because I got to do a water change here. So basically what I do is that I just turn on the water here. Water's coming out, and then I just flip this little lever here, and then it starts going into my my RO system. Now currently, since I live in an apartment, my water pressure is really low. Look in here, you can tell that my water pressure is roughly about 40 psi, which is really low, and so it's not really good. I don't get good quality water, or the rejection rate of my water is very high. As you can see here, that's the rejection rate right there. And if I show you the good amount of water, see that little trickle right there? Yeah, that is a complete waste. So it's not producing a lot. So that's one thing about RODI systems, is that they can be wasteful. That's why I purchased this booster kit, which is going to create more good water, and at the same time it can produce it at a faster rate. So you'll notice, remember the pressure gauge, when I plug in this, it's not only gonna give me more good quality water and at a faster rate, but it's also gonna produce less. I mean you're still gonna get a faster rejection rate, but believe it or not, you're actually producing less bad water. So and another thing, it also uses up less resin. So using the resin, it actually gets used up faster, because you don't have as high of a TDS rating. This is the reason why, because the higher the pressure for the not too high, but the higher the pressure is that goes through your membrane, it's gonna actually give you more water, good water, than it will bad. So I'm just gonna plug in my little booster pump here. You can hear it. It's not too loud. It doesn't give out a lot of noise. And if you notice the pressure gauge now, we're about 85 psi. Generally, you want to run about 80. It all depends on the day. The booster pump. Normally, it runs about 80. Today's 85 for some reason. But now the water is gonna be coming out faster. Now if you look at it's coming out a little bit faster. That's because there's more pressure in the lines, but it's actually producing less waste. And then if you look here, this is it's coming. The good water is coming out actually a lot faster, and so this is good. So without that, this system would generally take me about, to fill it up to probably about right here. It would take roughly about almost probably 16 to 18 hours without the booster pump. Now I reduced that time in roughly about half. So it takes me about 9 hours to get this thing out to where I need to get to. So definitely a big improvement. And that's pretty much it. I always carry, like I said, make sure you always have backups, filters, tubing if you can. Just a quick show of the TDS meter. So going in, you can see that TDS is about 11 TDS for the meter, and then obviously coming out should say 0. See, 0. So yeah, this is just a quick video on RO DI systems. If you have any questions, just post a comment under the video, and yeah, if you have any and if there's anything you wish for me to talk about, just let me know. If you're just joining us, please watch my other videos, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. As they say in Hawaii, mahalo.